Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Veronica Youngblood? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Veronica Youngblood was born on May 5, 1985 in Argentina. Allegedly, she was mistreated in various ways when she was young, and both her parents abandoned her. On June 11, 2003, Veronica had a daughter named Sharon Castro. About a year later, Veronica started working as a sex worker in order to provide financially for her daughter. In 2007, Veronica met a man named Ronald Youngblood. He was a pilot in the Navy and stationed in Argentina. There was an immediate physical attraction between the pair, and they became romantically involved. The couple married in Las Vegas in 2009. Ronald raised Veronica's daughter, Sharon, as if she was his own. On November 11, 2012, the couple had a daughter named Brooklyn. Due to the nature of Ronald's job, the family moved around quite a bit. For a while, they were in San Diego, California. Ronald was informed that he was going to be deployed in the Middle East for 6 months. Before he departed, he noticed that Veronica had changed her appearance. She cut her hair and colored it darker. When it was time to leave, Veronica did not accompany Ronald to the airport to see him off. When Ronald was in the Middle East, he made an unpleasant discovery. He and Veronica had their phones configured in a way where they could see each other's text messages. Ronald noticed that Veronica was texting another man in a way consistent with romance. When he confronted Veronica about this discovery, she did not deny having an affair. She told Ronald that she was in love and intended to marry her affair partner. They were going to move to Argentina and have a happy life. Before the deployment ended, Ronald and his wife were able to remedy some of the challenges with their relationship. Veronica apologized for her behavior, terminated the affair, and stated that she did not want a divorce. Ronald came back to the United States and the couple reconciled. The family moved to Honduras so Ronald could begin a new role with the Navy. After living in Honduras for 2 months, Ronald found messages on a computer that Veronica used. The messages were between her and a man from Miami. Veronica admitted that she was having an affair and talked about how she had made plans to be with her new lover. She desperately wanted to get out of Honduras and move back to the United States. At this point, Ronald realized that his relationship with Veronica was not going to work out. The accuracy of his assessment was only reinforced by Veronica's next move. She went to the authorities in Honduras and falsely accused Ronald of mistreating her and the children. The Navy arranged for an emergency removal, and the family moved to Florida. Veronica and the 2 children lived with her sister, as Ronald lived in a separate residence. Just like there wasn't peace in Honduras, there would not be any in Florida. Veronica went to the Navy and accused Ronald of failing to provide financial support to his family. He was able to supply documentation proving that he did support them. In a surprising twist, Veronica moved in with Ronald after claiming that her sister had kicked her out. It sounds like any plans for a divorce were put on hold. In July 2015, Ronald was transferred to the Naval Yard in Washington, D.C. The family moved into a townhouse in nearby Oakton, Virginia. As Ronald continued his career in the Navy, Veronica took care of the children. The marriage remained tumultuous, and in February 2016, Ronald filed for divorce. In September of 2016, Ronald and Veronica came to an agreement as the divorce case was still pending. They would live together in Oakton. Ronald would continue to provide for his family as he had been doing, and no child or spousal support would be paid by either party. It appeared as though there was an uneasy peace. Not surprisingly, it did not last. In October 2016, Ronald went to the court and obtained a protective order against Veronica after she allegedly damaged some of his property. Veronica was ordered out of the home, but it appears as though she moved back in with Ronald not too long after this. On October 31, 2016, the couple's divorce was finalized. In March of 2018, the couple filed a consent order with the court, saying that they were planning on moving to Sedalia, Missouri. This is about an hour and a half east of Kansas City. This plan involved moving in early August 2018. The couple agreed that Veronica would get her own apartment within 30 miles of where Ronald lived, and he would pay her rent for 3 years. They would share custody of their daughter, Brooklyn. The next month, on April 13, Veronica changed her mind about the agreement. She hired a new lawyer and requested that the custody order be amended. Her argument was that she found a full-time job and could now afford her own apartment. She moved into an apartment at 1519 Lincoln Circle in McLean, Virginia. On July 3, 2018, the court ruled that there was no material change in the circumstances and declined to amend the order from March. Veronica was going to be stuck with the arrangement that she had agreed to. Ronald was granted permission to take Brooklyn with him to Missouri. He wanted to take both Brooklyn and Sharon, but Sharon was to stay with Veronica. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On July 27, 2018, 24 days after Veronica was defeated in court, she went to a gun show and purchased a Glock 9mm semi-automatic pistol. On August 5, 2018, just 2 days before Ronald and Brooklyn would be moving to Missouri, Veronica asked Ronald to see Brooklyn. When speaking to him, she mentioned how she had gone to a gun show, but Ronald did not find this to be out of the ordinary. Veronica had been to gun shows before, and she was not making any type of threat. Nothing about her behavior seemed unusual. That night, Veronica gave 15-year-old Sharon and 5-year-old Brooklyn gummies containing melatonin. As the girls were in bed, Veronica retrieved the Glock 9mm pistol. She made her way into Sharon's room and shot her once. Veronica then went to Brooklyn's room and shot her in the head, killing her. After realizing that Sharon was still alive, Veronica went back into her room and shot her a second time. At this point, Veronica fled the apartment in a rental car. Sharon managed to call 911 and told the operator that her mother had shot her. She said, "I don't want to die. Please help me." Emergency responders arrived at the apartment and found Brooklyn dead. Sharon was taken to a hospital, where she died 6 days later. Veronica called Ronald and left him a voicemail, indicating that she had shot both Sharon and Brooklyn and intended to bring an end to her own life. In addition, she mentioned that she hated him. She drove to the Leesburg, Virginia residence of a man she dated a few times. Veronica showed him the 9mm pistol and said that she had just killed her daughters. The man called 911. After the police arrived, they arrested Veronica. She agreed to be interviewed. Veronica confessed to shooting both her daughters. She claimed that she was hoping to get the death penalty. Despite her eagerness to pay the ultimate price, Veronica pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. On March 26, 2023, Veronica was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of the use of a firearm in the commission of a murder. She received 36 years for each count of murder and 3 years for each count of the firearm charge. All the sentences were to be served consecutively, resulting in a total sentence of 78 years in prison. Veronica is scheduled to be released sometime around the age of 116. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. According to Ronald, the marriage between him and Veronica seemed productive and happy until Veronica had her first affair. After this, her behavior was antisocial, and she became distant and unemotional. Ronald did not believe that Veronica was the same person he had met in Argentina. That's how much she changed. Veronica frequently took actions designed to provoke Ronald, like she wanted him to get physical with her so she could get him in trouble. A few examples of her behavior: she put his wallet in the toilet, put his cell phone in the toilet, placed his laptop in a bathtub full of water, scratched his car, and flooded the house they lived in by turning on a sink faucet and blocking the drain. Even with these attempts to aggravate Ronald, he never responded with violence. I find it curious that Veronica continued to engage in the destructive behavior without success. Perhaps she gained pleasure from making Ronald's life miserable. It did not matter if he gave in to the provocation or not. Veronica simply enjoyed hurting him. Item number 2, Veronica indicated that she adhered to an uncommon religious belief system from South America. She believed that she could communicate with the dead and put red ribbons throughout her apartment to ward off evil spirits. Right before she mortally wounded her daughter Sharon, Veronica said to her, "I'm going to take you to see God." Veronica did not blame her religious beliefs for the murders, rather her mental health. This brings me to item number 3. Veronica pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Her defense argued that she had complex post-traumatic stress disorder. While there is a diagnosis called post-traumatic stress disorder, there is no official complex version. Often when people put the word complex in front of this disorder, they are simply trying to make it sound more dramatic and destructive. Even if Veronica did have a particularly challenging manifestation of PTSD symptoms, this disorder does not affect a person's ability to understand the difference between right and wrong. It cannot be effectively used to prove legal insanity. Veronica also claimed that she was hearing voices. It is reasonable to believe she simply pretended to have this symptom in order to escape responsibility. The explanation Veronica offered to the judge didn't have anything to do with the disorders she invoked, rather with impulsivity. Veronica said, quote, "I've been a good mother, but something happened. I don't know how to explain it. Something exploded in my mind," unquote. Item number 4. The crime featured in this case, a mother killing her children, is referred to as maternal filicide. It is often divided into 5 types: fatal maltreatment, unwanted child motive, altruistic, psychotic, and partner revenge. It seems clear the type involved in this case is that last one, partner revenge. Veronica wanted to make Ronald pay and knew that killing the children would accomplish that goal. Almost every instance of the partner revenge type of maternal filicide occurs in the context of a custody dispute or infidelity. In this particular case, both those factors were present. Item number 5, what do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Veronica was self-centered, grandiose, arrogant, condescending, impulsive, irresponsible, cold, callous, vindictive, petty, manipulative, deceptive, cynical, sensation-seeking, materialistic, hedonistic, insensitive, opportunistic, shallow, greedy, and sadistic. In addition, she falsely believed she was special and had a massive sense of entitlement. Veronica had been accustomed to manipulating men. This probably started when she was a sex worker. In that line of work, both the sex worker and the customer are manipulative. There is no romance, it's just business. There's a tendency to view the transactions as competitive and adversarial. When Veronica married, being manipulative no longer served the purpose it had been serving. However, she would not give it up. It was part of her nature. She desired to have power and control in relationships. That's the only way she felt satisfied and comfortable. As far as other goals in life, Veronica was always looking for adventure and pleasure. Much of her pleasure was derived from causing Ronald to suffer. This is where the sadism part comes in. After Ronald's victory in court paved the way for the move to Missouri with Brooklyn, Veronica realized that she was losing her grip. Ronald would no longer be available for mistreatment. Veronica would still have Sharon, but she wanted more. She was unwilling to lose control and was running out of opportunities to hurt Ronald. Veronica was not interested in negotiation. She did not threaten to carry out the murders in order to fulfill a list of demands. She wasn't looking for reconciliation. She simply wanted revenge. This was her last drastic statement, her final act of terror, and her ultimate act of sadism. Her goal was to make Ronald pay, and she was successful. What happened to her after that was immaterial as far as she was concerned. No meaningful effort was invested in assembling a believable mental health defense. From Veronica's point of view, she had already obtained the only victory she needed. She created a wound which will never heal. Those are my thoughts in the case of Veronica Youngblood. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.